Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. I'm Nick, and this is Super Simple Security Principles, where you come to level up your digital self defense skills one baby step at a time. This podcast is just one piece of the I Hate Passwords Digital Self Defense Academy, or IHP Academy for short. Today, we have episode 16, Eliminating Email Exhaustion, part 1. As always, joining me, our master guardian, Makani. Yeah, buddy, it's going to be a good one. So I like to start with how we got here, right? I've always thought there is danger in opening emails, especially those we don't recognize. It's why I delete in the masses. I mean, I delete most of my email without ever reading a word. Let me just share with you what everybody's thinking that's a non-techie. Email sucks. I get so much spam. I get so much junk sent to me that I'm just like, delete, 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 empty trash basket. And so I'm missing stuff. I'm missing valuable pieces sometimes. And now to talk about some of these other things that we've mentioned on our show, and the fact that most phishing attacks take place via email. And I can't recognize what's real or what's fake. In short, Makani, here you go. I don't trust email. Why should I even check my email when there's a threat waiting behind those doors?
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. I think you represent a lot of our listeners in your sentiments. Like with a lot of other technology things, we are in agreement. Email does suck. But also, as you alluded to, we're very dependent on it. And my perspective is, if it's necessary, then let's do everything we can to make it suck less. And I don't have a magic wand. I can't make everything go away. But I do have a lot of things that we're going to talk about that will help make it better. As Nick said, we're going to do multiple episodes on email exhaustion. And the part that we want to start with today is fear. Because the first step is a lot of people that I talk to are afraid to even open their email accounts, afraid to open individual emails. And so fear is the first thing I want to cover.
Look, fear is for me, just a little insight into me and my listeners. I'm going to share a little bit about you. I struggle massively with anxiety. Anxiety and fear keep me from living happy. So by eliminating a fear, by us understanding the threats properly, we could start to put that fear away. Connie, how do we start getting rid of this fear, man?
The first part is, like you mentioned, understanding the threat. And that's the principle that we're going to focus on today. Specifically, what bad stuff can happen when you check email. Because many people know that there are bad things that can happen and are nervous about it, but they're not sure exactly what those bad things look like, when specifically they might happen. So we want to break that down. So the first, of course, is just opening an individual email. And this is something that was a big problem earlier in our lives. So if you're old enough, you were around when that happened, then you probably remember that. Your computer could be infected with a virus just by opening an email.
I totally remember this phase, man. It was crazy. Like if you opened it, you're getting screwed. Watch out.
Yeah, I'm grateful that we're finally past that, right? But that fear and that perception lingers, which is understandable, right? Because how do you truly know that that risk is gone? Because the answer is you either have to understand all the technical details of what changed, so you know that it's really fixed, or you've got to have somebody that you trust who does understand it. And I want to be that person. I'm telling you, Nick, and our listeners, trust me, I understand what changed, and that risk is gone. It's not to say it couldn't come back or look in different forms. New risks are always coming, but for now, you can safely open and read all your email, even the ones in your spam folder. Now, you do that, you may see or read things you wish you hadn't, but you won't be inviting the hackers onto your computer by doing that like you would in the old days. The threat comes after that in the forms of, just as you talked about, and most people recognize these days, those links inside the email or attachments are also dangerous. In short, opening and reading an email, any email is safe, but any interaction with the contents of an email is a risk.
Look, I've deleted useful emails because I didn't recognize the sender and I was too afraid to open the emails. I've missed appointments. I've had financial questions that have come up. It's a big deal.
Yeah, it sucks. So we understand the threat and know the risks. So all we need to do is make a simple plan. And that is for you to decide to open your email, even if it's scary, because it's safe. Trust me. And now what you do after it is a bigger topic, and we're going to start talking about at least in the next episode. But I'll also add this. If you have any questions about an email, you can forward that message on to me. The email address is help@ihatepasswords.xyz. I would love to take a look and help you figure that out.
Let me scream to our listeners. Did you just hear that? You want to verify the validity or you want help with an email? There you go. We're going to help you out. Not only, I'm pretty sure Makani just said he'd love to help you out with that. Huge. Thank you so much for being willing to do that for us, Makani. I appreciate that.
All right, now for our final piece. I want to add kind of a new segment to the podcast. Short, but I think it's going to be powerful. So please let me know how you like it. And that is just a quick analysis of how you can apply today's principle elsewhere. And the principle we're talking about is understand the threat. I really love principles. Why I chose the podcast to be all about principles, because they are powerful. You can learn them once and apply them over and over. So with email, we ask the question, what bad stuff can happen? And we want to ask that same question about any other scenario that we're trying to analyze before we come up with solutions. Now, you won't always know the right answers about what bad stuff can happen. And partly because the answers change over time, like with email. Opening an email was a threat, but it isn't anymore, and so you don't have to take precautions against that. But what you can do, even if you don't know the right answers, is just make sure that question gets asked and keeps getting asked until you get the useful, correct answers. Now, obviously, you need somebody to help get those answers, and I'm happy to be that person. I would love to. And getting those answers, that's the first step in any security setting. It's a critical one, but it often gets overlooked or glossed over. And so that's why I chose understanding the threat as today's principle.
Okay, so remind yourself to ask that simple question. What bad stuff can happen? Be asking that. Again, we're here to help.
So Nick, what would you say is your key takeaway from today's episode?
2 things. Email exhaustion is a real thing. Most of us deal with spam daily. We also deal with fear that we've tied to our email because we know threats can come in there. What we need to remember is it's okay to open it. You could read through it. Just don't click on the shiny buttons until you've asked yourself the right question.
Yeah. Email sucks, as we keep saying, but it doesn't have to be scary. And I know listening to me for 10 minutes won't magically fix that. And even understanding that it's safe to open an email is not going to erase the fear of clicking on something you shouldn't after you opened it. But it's a place to start. It's the first layer. And it may take a lot of steps, but if you keep listening and taking action, you will get to the point where email isn't scary for you either.
Excellent. That sounds fantastic, right? There you go, guys. We're going to slowly give you the tips and tools so that email isn't scary for you either. That makes my day. So knowing that, it's reached that point in time in our show. It's our call to action time. Makani, what are we doing today?
I want you to ask yourself this question. Do I feel safe opening any email I receive? And I know the answer for some of you will be no, even after listening to this episode. So what I'd like you to do, if your answer is no, is I want you to come join us on the forum and share your feelings about email and what worries you about email. And we will find a way to help you.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, well, Makani, you kind of led me into my last little plug. We've discussed on this show for the better part of 3 months problems, tech problems specifically. Guess what? Lots and lots of solutions are coming. We're pumped to bring those solutions and help to you. Did I say we're super excited to introduce our solutions? We're pumped. That opportunity is actually coming up in a matter of days. For the first time in years, we will have the doors open to our security dojo. This is a place where you'll go to level up your security. And those doors open the 27th of May. That's next week. Let's go. And of course, as always, we're going to put all the links to everything we mentioned in our show notes. Okay, that's our super simple show today. Remember, just by listening, you are making an improvement to your privacy and security. We'd love to hear from you. So come visit us at ihpacademy.com by clicking on the link in our show notes. Thank you for joining us. Make it a great day. Bye-bye.